The signal arrived without sound or color. It slipped into human space like a ghost, unseen and ignored. At first, no one cared. Deep space stations received strange data every day. Most of it was old noise or broken echoes from dead stars. But this signal was different. It repeated the same warning again and again. Cold, slow, and clear. The Draconian fleet is coming. The message came from beyond the mapped stars, from a region no human ship had entered in hundreds of years. Scientists studied it. Military officers watched it. Politicians argued about it. Some said it was fake. Some said it was a trap. Others laughed and called it a bad joke. Humans had no great enemies. They had spread across dozens of systems, built cities on moons and stations near suns. They believed the galaxy had forgotten them, or worse, that no one ever cared. The name Draconian sounded like an old myth, a story told by traders and lost travelers, a race of scaled beings who burned worlds and erased civilizations. No proof had ever been found, no ships, no bodies, no ruins, just fear. So humans ignored the warning. 3 days later, the stars changed. At the edge of human space, light began to vanish. Outer colonies reported strange shadows moving between stars. Long shapes blocked the glow of distant suns. Not one ship, not 10, but thousands. The Draconian fleet had arrived. They moved in perfect order, huge black vessels shaped like blades and claws. Their hulls reflected no light. Human sensors struggled to count them. Every scan showed more ships than before. Panic spread fast. Alarms rang across planets and stations. Civilian traffic flooded the jump gates. All defense systems were activated. For the first time in decades, weapons that had never been fired were powered on. The Draconians sent a message. It was short and sharp. Submit or be erased. There was no anger in their words. No emotion at all. Just certainty. Human leaders gathered in emergency meetings. Some demanded surrender. Some demanded war. Military commanders studied the enemy. They saw weapons stronger than anything humans had built. Ships larger than cities. Many believed humanity was finished. But something strange happened. Humans did not reply. No message was sent back. No threat. No plea. No signal. The Draconian fleet waited. Minutes passed. Then hours. They saw human space go quiet. Defense fleets pulled back. Stations shut down their lights. To the Draconians, it looked like fear, like a species hiding before death. But they were wrong. Deep beneath human worlds, ancient systems woke up. Machines older than modern history began to move. Hidden stations inside moons powered on silently. Weapons built not for battle, but for endings. Humans had learned a hard lesson long ago. If you show your power, someone will challenge it. So they learned to hide, to wait, to stay quiet. As the Draconian fleet crossed deeper into human space, they passed a line they could not see, and the void around them began to listen. The warning had been real. The silence was not weakness, it was preparation. And the galaxy was about to learn why humans were left alone. A quiet response. The Draconian fleet continued its advance. They expected fear to break the humans. They expected surrender to arrive at any moment. But human space remained silent. No fleets rushed forward. No great weapons fired. The Draconian commanders watched their screens. They saw empty space and dark stars. To them, it looked like victory already won. They believed humans were weak, a young species divided by small wars and loud words, a species that relied too much on machines. The fleet moved deeper, crossing system after system without resistance. Human worlds went dark. Cities shut down their lights. Stations powered off non-essential systems. To the enemy, it looked like panic, like a people hiding in fear. But far below the surface, humans were working. Hidden command centers activated. Rooms that had not been used for generations came alive. Old officers returned to duty. Engineers opened sealed vaults. Systems marked forbidden were unlocked. These were not weapons meant to scare. They were tools built for survival. Human history was filled with loss, long before the stars. They had learned one rule: if someone threatens your home, you make sure they can never try again. Small human ships moved quietly. They did not approach the enemy. They stayed far away, watching. Information flowed through dark channels. Enemy movements were tracked. Weak points were mapped. The Draconians noticed nothing. Their senses were powerful, but they searched for force, not silence. As the fleet advanced, strange things began to happen. Navigation data showed small errors. Star maps disagreed with each other. Draconian engineers blamed human interference, but saw no weapons, no attack. Time passed slowly. The fleet crossed another invisible border. At that moment, human space changed. Gravitational readings shifted slightly, not enough to cause alarm, just enough to confuse. Communication delays increased. Messages arrived late, or not at all. The Draconian leaders grew impatient. They sent another message, louder and sharper than before. Your silence will not save you. Still, the humans did not reply. Instead, deep within hidden stations, final checks were made. Systems aligned across star systems. Energy levels rose. This was not fear, this was control. Humans had no need to shout. They had no need to threaten. As the Draconian fleet moved forward, confident and proud, they did not realize the truth. They were no longer invading human space. They were already inside the trap between stars. The change began quietly, so quietly that the Draconians did not notice at first. Their fleet moved as planned. Formations perfect, weapons ready. Then space itself started to feel wrong. Navigation screens flickered. Star positions shifted by small but impossible amounts. Draconian pilots reported errors. Jump routes no longer matched known paths. Distances felt stretched. Commanders ordered system checks. Engineers ran deep scans. Nothing looked broken. That was the most frightening part. Signals between ships slowed. Messages arrived out of order. Some never arrived at all. The fleet had crossed another invisible line. Gravity readings began to rise. Not enough to crush hulls, just enough to pull ships slightly off course. Draconian vessels corrected again and again, burning fuel to stay in formation. Confusion spread through the command decks. Officers raised their voices. Orders were repeated. Still, no human ships appeared. No weapons fired. No warnings sent. Then the first jump drive failed. A single cruiser tried to reposition. Its engines screamed and went dark. Engineers called it a rare malfunction. They believed the problem would be fixed quickly. Then a second ship failed. Then a third. Across the fleet, jump systems shut down one by one. Escape paths vanished. Draconian commanders ordered a full retreat. But retreat required speed, and speed was slipping away. Human technology was not louder or brighter. It was patient. Hidden gravity nets activated fully, locking ships into invisible cages. The fleet tried to power weapons. Energy levels dropped. Without warning, power drained into nothing. Draconian sensors screamed now. Space was folding in strange patterns, like a web tightening. Fear entered their voices for the first time. The Draconians finally understood. This was not an attack. It was a design. A trap built across light years, prepared long before the fleet arrived. At the center of the formation, human systems reached full strength, silent and perfect. Then the human message arrived. Not loud, not threatening, just one calm sentence. You were warned by silence. There was no time to answer. The trap closed completely. Space bent inward. Stars stretched into thin lines. The Draconian fleet was no longer moving forward. It was no longer moving at all. It was caught between stars, and the galaxy held its breath. Across human space, sensors focused on one point. Every hidden station watched in silence. The Draconian fleet struggled inside the trap. Ships pooled against invisible forces. Engines burned without movement. Commanders screamed orders, but their voices stayed trapped inside their own ships. No battle cries echoed. No weapons flashed. Humans did not fire a single shot. The trap reached its final stage. Energy levels spiked across the region. Space itself began to fold. From distant colonies, humans watched the stars twist. Light bent like soft metal. Shadows stretched across the void. The first Draconian ship vanished. No explosion, no sound. One moment it existed, the next it was gone. Then another ship disappeared. Then 10, then hundreds. The fleet broke apart without movement, pulled into empty nothing. Draconian distress signals flooded the void. Broken, panicked, fading fast, human systems recorded everything, but no one celebrated. This was not victory. This was necessity. The space around the fleet collapsed inward. Like a closing hand, stars dimmed, gravity spiked. Time itself seemed to slow. Within minutes, the fleet was thinning. Massive warships erased without trace. The Draconian Empire waited for reports. Command channels stayed silent. No wreckage drifted. No debris remained. Only calm, empty space replaced the armada at the center of the collapse. The last Draconian flagship struggled. Its hull cracked under unseen pressure. Then it vanished, just like the others. The trap shut down. Energy levels dropped. Space relaxed. Human systems powered off one by one. Hidden stations returned to sleep. From the outside, it looked like nothing had happened. Stars returned to normal. The void became quiet again. The Draconian fleet had entered human space, and now it was gone. Not destroyed, not defeated, simply erased, and the galaxy would soon learn. Some silences are permanent. Years passed after the disappearance. Human space returned to normal life. Cities rebuilt their lights. Trade routes reopened. Children were born under calm stars. Humans did not celebrate the event. They did not build monuments. They did not tell the full story. Across the galaxy, rumors spread instead. Whispers moved between traders and explorers. They spoke of a fleet that entered human space and never came back. Other empires watched carefully. They sent probes to the border. They studied human behavior. They saw no great armies, no massive war fleets, no loud threats. Humans stayed quiet. They focused on growth, on art, science, and survival. That silence made others nervous. Some species searched for the missing Draconians. They found no wreckage, no energy scars. It was as if the fleet had never existed. Old records were reviewed. Ancient warnings were rediscovered. Many civilizations realized the same truth. Humans only fight when there is no other choice. And when they fight, they make sure the problem ends forever. The borders of human space became respected lines. No empire crossed them again. Human ships were allowed safe passage. Human traders were welcomed. Because fear did not surround them. Understanding did. Humans never said they were strong. They never claimed to rule the galaxy. They simply lived, and somewhere beyond known space, beyond time and gravity. The Draconian fleet remains lost, trapped between stars, not as a punishment, but as a lesson, a message written into the void. Do not mistake silence for weakness. Long after the event faded into rumor, the galaxy continued to change. New empires rose, old powers weakened, but one truth stayed the same. Every star map marked human space carefully. Borders were drawn with wide, empty lines. Captains slowed their ships near those regions. Admirals advised caution. No one needed reminders. The story of the Draconian fleet was enough. In distant academies, young officers studied history. They asked why no battle was recorded, why no victory parade was seen. Their teachers gave the same answer. Humans did not need witnesses. Human philosophy was different. They believed survival mattered more than pride. They believed the loudest victory was the one no one saw. Some civilizations tried to copy human silence. They failed. Because silence without preparation is just fear. Humans had prepared for centuries. Not for conquest, but for defense. Their greatest weapon was not technology, it was patience. Deep, within forgotten stations, systems remained ready, not active, not sleeping, waiting. Humans hoped they would never be used again, and across the galaxy, others hoped the same. Because everyone now understood, if humans ever go quiet again, it means the lesson is about to be taught once more.